What is up, everybody? Michael, Vintage Diesel Equipment Service. I'm at it again. Just right off the hit. I only do it once in a video, so I'm gonna do it now. If you don't mind, if you're new here, maybe click that subscribe button, possibly even that like button and the notification bell. Just saying, it'd help the channel. Folks, behind me is a Mitsubishi Bd2F dozer. Yep. So the story is, last year it ran out of fuel. It lost its fuel prime. They couldn't get the primer pump to, well, do anything. It wouldn't even release. So they couldn't get it bled back out. And then they had a issue with the starter, and they replaced it. And there was a big snafu, and well, nothing ever worked. So there's that, of course. Surely not that simple. All right. So, and then they had some water get in the fuel cell. We're gonna clean that out, get our fuel primed back up. So I had to pull this hood, we'll pump that, and then whenever we finally get our battery and everything worked out, which we gotta get batteries in there, then we'll be able to, you know, turn this thing over and finally get it primed. So, by the way, I've only got one battery and only part of a battery. Yep, that happened today. Anyway, here we go. Alright, so first things first, you're going to come to the back of the tank, okay? The back of the tank. So the back of the dozer. And you got a drain valve. In my case, whenever I took the plug off, nothing came out. So I had to take a pick, shove it up in there, and well, as you see, it's draining. It's the fuel itself don't look too bad, but the rest of it looks pretty nasty. If it matters, it smells nasty too. Anyway, sorry I accidentally hit stop. I didn't mean to, but I'm gonna let this drain out, and while it does, I'm gonna go ahead and, considering what I just saw a while ago, I'm gonna hook up their starter wire, because, well, you gotta have that before it's gonna work. Now, this particular unit is a negative 24 volts. That's a negative. That's a positive ground is what it is, okay? And if that sounds confusing, well, it kind of is. So, anyway, let me get set up. All right, folks, I'm sorry about the wind. I forgot my wind sock. So, we've already blown a lot of trash out of this tank with some air that, as you can see, the tank's not here, but it will be back soon, and we're gonna do that until there's nothing left blowing out of there. I've already hooked up my batteries. Yep. So that's a done deal. If you're curious, it's not that big a deal. All right, so next I'm gonna unbolt my hood. I'm gonna get it off there. And that way, once I have my fuel cell all cleaned out and I get all the line, get my line hooked up back up to it, because I disconnected the fuel line, you know, let's just be sure, you know. So I've disconnected my fuel line. I'm probably going to go ahead and pull that fuel filter, just have me a look, fill it back up with fresh fluids, you know. Let's just give it a fighting chance, you know what I mean. And then once we do that and refill it, then we'll be ready to fire this bad boy up, and we'll see where we're at in life. You know what, that oil filter looks pretty old, y'all. Thought I'd have me a look in the old fuel filler cap and see how cruddy it looked. And you know what? She's full to the brim. Oh, y'all, that's good. Dead on, in fact. Now, as sometimes this does happen, as I spoke, to the gentleman, he said this ran last year, but when the missus showed up, she said it had been a couple of years or so. So, that's going to be exciting. You know what? I'm just going to turn the old key here, and let's just see if we get anything, okay? Hey! All right. Well, I'm going to whiz that hood off, get things ready on the fuel system. Here we go, y'all. Inside that tank, as you can see, I went ahead and unbolted that dude. It's 4 bolts, real quick and easy. I think it's 22 millimeter. Try and give you a little look-see down there. Might be fruitless without any real light. Who knows? Guess I'll be seeing whenever I investigate footage. But let me just tell you, no bueno. It's nasty. So, get this tank cleaned up. Also disconnected my fuel line. Went ahead and disconnected my fuel line right here. Okay. What I'm gonna do is go right there and blow that hose out. That way that whole line gets blown out. And I know that we don't have any contaminants in that dude. Needless to say, I'm gonna be on this fuel cell for a while, so pray for me. All right, so I'm gonna walk you through this process, because when you got that much rust and water and crud in the bottom of a tank, simply a blowing it out of it ain't gonna really do you nothing. So, well, there ain't no easy way. Get you a vacuum plug set if you ain't already got one, because I can promise you they're handy. Find you one that fits your fuel pitcock, okay? Put your drain plug back on. I'm gonna actually clean that up on the inside first. Flip it up right way up to where you got your gas cap. Take you some clean diesel, which I have inside that jug despite its looks. And you're gonna need you some odds and ends, bolts and nuts. No, I haven't lost a screw. Look, what I'm fixing to tell you is gonna suck, but it's where you're at, so it's what you're gonna have to do. So you're gonna take your hardware, you're gonna throw it in the bottom of the tank, you're gonna pour you some diesel in there, you're gonna throw it in the bottom of the tank, of course, and then, well, get you a nice open spot. Because you're going to be rolling this tank around. Yep. Upside down, up, right side up, side to side. And you're going to do it for a while, okay? It's going to suck. You're going to get your exercise, because this dude ain't just super light. It ain't really bad because it's a little dozer, but it ain't easy. So, after you're done with that process, drain, rinse, repeat. Drain, rinse, repeat. Drain, rinse, and then blow it out, and probably do it again. Yep, you're in for a long day. Let's get it. So it just dawned on me that y'all might like to see what led to me deciding to do that. Yeah, that's what the inside of that tank looked like, and you don't smell diesel at all, just so you know. It's just rust and water. So that's what got us here. All right, so I've already done our first round, and you can see some rust that wound up coming out of it on the ground. It was hard to get my hardware out. That's why that happened. You'll go through it. I've still got to do it one more time, but to give you an idea, let's see if I can set my camera here. Look at all that. I mean, what more can I say? And we're going to do it again, because I mean, this is the worst I've ever seen. Okay, all right, let me get all my hardware out of here and clean it off, and we're going to do this again. By the way, make sure you take time to wash out your hardware, because I mean, look at that nastiness. Yeah, imagine trying to run that and it going right into your fuel system. So, all right. All right, everybody, so tank's back on, fuel line's hooked back up. I've already blown both the tank and the fuel line out. With that said, I've already put some fuel back in it. I'm waiting on the owner to make it back with some more. After you've done that, you're going to want to turn your little pump until it's loose, and then you're going to pump and pump and pump. That is assuming that the diaphragm's still good on your pump. Okay, it might not be, and in our case, well, not looking too promising, I'm gonna be honest. So I'm gonna try and make sure it's fully unscrewed. Yeah, it just plummets to the bottom with no real feel like I'm actually plunging fuel. So yeah, not feeling like it's going anywhere. So the next thing you're going to want to do, this is presupposing you've already taken your hood off. You should have. You're going to want to get you, let's see, yeah, 17 millimeter, and crack open each injector line so that you can turn the motor over and get the air out of it. Yes, it is a necessity. You'll have to do it. And in our case, there's a good chance I'll have to do it to get the fuel filter. Get the fuel filter full, which I've already pre-filled it, but we can presuppose that there's a little bit of air in that. Okay, so here we go. All right, everybody, so I've got fuel up to my fuel filter, so if I can keep enough fuel, really still need a little bit more. I'm waiting on the guy to bring it to me. We're gonna go ahead and try what we have to bleed them. So I've already got them cracked open, so I don't know if we're ever gonna get enough battery. Boy, just ain't getting much out of those tanks. She's gonna live, y'all. Yep, she's gonna live. We just gotta give it a little bit more throttle. while we're at all this, here, let's just see if we can turn the key and get it up. Come on, baby. Come on. She's doing it, y'all. She's doing it. First time in at least a couple of years, they said. Let's get over here and see if we can find out how to give it a little bit more throttle, shall we? Folks, she's a runner. That's all they wanted me to do was make it run. So I guess all I've got to do is stick that hood back on that dude. We're gonna finish filling it up with fluid, and that's gonna have this dude going. Hey, how about that? So, all right, folks, it is the next day. The sun is bright. It's still a little windy. Maybe I'll put the windsock on here in just a little bit. But with that said, if y'all noticed, yesterday this thing was running just a little rough. And I don't think it has all the air out of all the injectors, which means that I don't think that we're running on all four. So, you know what? We are going to try some more to get this thing lined out a little better. So, with that said, let's try. He's supposed to be getting us some more batteries, but I haven't spoke to him yet this morning. Hadn't been able to get a hold of the feller. But we're going to go ahead and march right on with it. So, with that said, let me get set up and we're going to go ahead and boost this thing off some more and give it a whirl. So hold on. Well, folks, I stand corrected. Those are shiny new batteries. So with that said, let's get this thing rolling. Let me get me a wrench. Let me get me a wrench. So, you know what? I'm gonna get set up. We'll go for it. All right, y'all. So, pro tip: take you a cup, okay, paper cup, and fill it with diesel. If your primer pump won't work, take your screw totally out, okay. Take your bleeder, your bleeder bolt, and just go ahead and take it completely out. And fill until there's no air. Just pour and pour and pour. Yep. Easiest way to do it. So now we're going to take our wrench, 17 mil if you're wondering. Oh, and that air bleed is a 14 mil, just as the line is. So let's see if I can get you in a good spot. Hopefully that'll do. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and crack all these again. I think that would be the best. Yep. See? If you're curious, filming all this sort of stuff makes you kind of have to learn a lot about production works. Anyway, I'm going to turn this over until we see fuel coming out of each one, and as we get fuel to each one, no air, we'll shut them off. Okay? Alright. Alright, that one's getting fuel. She wants to. That one's getting fuel. Whew. We'll wind up a coal lung before we get this thing to build. Turn that throttle back. Injector's not pumping up. You know what? Let's get our 14 mil and let's turn it over while we run the fuel filter blades. Let's just make sure that we're good here. Oh, I bet we're not. No, we're not good there. Hold on a moment. I'm going to pull this fuel filter. We're going to make sure we still got a full fuel filter. Let's just make sure we haven't sucked our filter dry. Could just be we're not getting fuel. That's what we got to verify. Just remember, this thing had a really nasty fuel tank and everything. Yeah. Well, it was pretty close to completely full. Yeah, I'm not sold that we're getting anything out of our pump. Go back to the pouring on the field, pouring it straight in. Alright, as you can see, it's plumb to the top, so there ain't no air for certain. Let's give that a little tighten. Bad part is this dude wants to run. I mean, like right now. So once we can finally get it to deliver enough fuel, it will. folks, so what it's taken to get to this point, we've taken the fuel primer pump off, and we've cleaned it out. There's a lot of rust inside that. I'm sorry I didn't film it. I didn't even think about it. But with that said, let's get our fuel back up to our fuel rail. So now we should be able to pick up fuel just fine, and this thing should run pretty quick. So let's bleed these injectors. Just like that, folks, she's humming along. After 2 or 3 years, it's running on its own power again. Sounds good too. Let me get this thing cleaned up. Let's see if we can make it move out of its spot. All right, folks. First time in 2 or 3 years, this dude is fixing to move out of its own spot on its own power. How's about that, y'all? Yep, it's a beautiful thing, y'all. It's a beautiful thing. That old feller's happy. Thanks so much for watching. I just can't thank you enough. Man, what a great feeling. See you in the next one.